So, good evening, all of you. We are going to discuss ovary and fallopian tube today. Okay. Yesterday we have done uterus completely. Hope you have studied. So, what are the parts of uterus? Abhinav?
Ma'am, I called her, ma'am. She's not picking up. I mean, she's talking to somebody else.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Beta.
Hmm.
Okay. So, what are the parts of uterus? Fundus, body, cervix. In the cervix, we have internal os, external os. Then the continuation is vagina, and this is the lateral angle. The lateral angle, we have the fallopian tube. Okay, so fallopian tube, the continuation of the fallopian tube, this is ampulla, and then we have fimbriae. At the fimbrial end of the fallopian tube, we have ovary. So today we are going to discuss ovary and also fallopian tube in detail. Okay, now see, ovary is like a female reproductive organ, and we know like ovary is concerned with the production of female gametes. Those are oocytes, nothing but ova. Okay, so it is homologous to testis in male. So where is it situated? The lesser pelvis. What is the plane of division we have?
Pelvic
Pelvic
diaphragm. Brim. Yeah.
Pelvic
Sorry,
brim.
brim.
Pelvic brim. Below pelvic brim, we call it as lesser pelvis. Above pelvic brim, we call it as greater pelvis. So in the lesser pelvis, even uterus also, I told you yesterday, it is situated in lesser pelvis only. Okay, so it is found on each side of the uterus behind the uterine tube. Okay, so it is attached to the posterior layer of broad ligament. You remember I told you yesterday broad ligament? What is broad ligament? It's the peritoneal covering of the uterus and also fallopian tube and the ovary. So actually in yesterday's class we missed like what are the contents of broad ligament. Actually contents of broad ligament are also very important. It itself can come as 3 marks or 4 marks, sorry, 5 marks question. So what are the contents? You can see from this picture, the broad ligament contains lot of fat. Okay, it contains the blood vessels like this is the gonadal artery, that is ovarian artery, ovarian vein. This is uterine artery, uterine vein. At this plane we also find ureter, isn't it? So we also find lot of lymphatics and nerves. Okay, then we will also see the ligaments of the ovary. We have the round ligament of uterus and suspensory ligament of ovary. So these are the contents. Apart from that, you will have certain embryonic remnants of ovary inside the broad ligament. So that is apoophoron and paraophoron. These are the embryological remnants of the ovary, what we see inside the broad ligament. So these are the contents of broad ligament. Did you study from the textbook? Did you come across this? Contents of broad ligament. Abhinav? Lokesh? Ansraj? Did you open the book to study the uterus? Okay, beta. Now from the lateral angle, we have fallopian tube. Okay, and at the end of the fallopian tube, at the fimbriated end of the fallopian tube, we see ovary. Now coming to the dimensions of ovary. So now coming to, and basically the position of ovary is different in case of multiparous women and nulliparous. What do you mean by multiparous and nulliparous? Do you remember?
More babies. I mean,
nulliparous means a lady who didn't bear any children till now is
no child.
nulliparous. Yeah, nulliparous. Okay, whereas multiparous means a lady who has given birth to the children. Okay, so the position of ovary will be different in nulliparous and also in multiparous women. Okay, now overall, when you just look at this ovary, so vertically this length, it is 3 centimeters. Antero-posterior diameter will be 1.5. They are like almond, badam. Okay, same that much size only, beta. Exactly. When you go to dissection hall and see, they look same like that only, round they are. Okay, so The transverse diameter is 1 centimeter and shape is they are like almond, and the direction of the axis is they are lying vertically. Okay, normally. Of course, with parity, the direction becomes horizontal. With parity, in multiparous, you will see they become horizontal, whereas in nulliparous women, they are just hanging downwards like this. The position will be vertical. Okay, then. So ovaries are basically not covered with peritoneum, but you do you remember I told you the broad ligament is completely enclosing. No, what is the fold of peritoneum which is seen from behind? Mesovarium. You remember that word yesterday I have
Yes.
used for
Mesothelioma.
mesometrium, mesovarium, mesosalpinx.
Mesosalpinx.
Three
Alpine.
subdivisions we have seen. Okay,
Yes.
basically ovary is not covered with peritoneum. When you just see the ovary in the living body, it will be dull gray in color, and it is covered with a special type of epithelium which is called as germinal epithelium. Okay, so the shape of cells are cuboidal. Before puberty, the surface of ovary is very smooth. After puberty, it becomes irregular because every month usually you will see the surface of ovary only will rupture to let the ovum to release into the peritoneal cavity. That's the reason you will see it becomes irregular due to repeated ovulation. Okay, that is cicatrization means the formation of hole, and then you will see the ovum is coming out. Okay, so nulliparous, the one lady who didn't give two children yet, are nulliparous. So in nulliparous women, you see the ovaries are lying in ovarian fossa just below the pelvic brim. Okay. So basically, whatever just now I told you the dimensions, 3 centimeters, 1.5, all those dimensions, whatever we are taking generally, we take it according to the nulliparous position of the ovary. Okay. So in newborn babies, the position of ovary is above pelvic brim. Yesterday, when we were discussing the age changes of uterus, also I told you the fundus is lying above only, no? Cervix lies in the true pelvis, isn't it? The lesser pelvis. Whereas the fundus and body of uterus, they are lying in the greater pelvis, that is false pelvis. Obviously, at the lateral borders of the fundus only, we will have the fallopian tube behind which we have ovaries, isn't it? So that's why you see the position of ovary in the newborn is above the pelvic brim. Then multiparous, usually the position basically where it should lie in the ovarian fossa. Okay, because it is working so much, sometimes it may be prolapsed and it may be seen in recto-uterine pouch. Okay, so abnormal positions of ovary, they are called as ectopic positions. Very rarely, okay, it may be found in the inguinal canal, labia majora due to errors of descent. Okay, then now let us come to the ovarian attachments. Okay, so basically I told you ovary is not having peritoneal covering, like, but there are certain peritoneal folds which are suspending the ovary like this. Okay, so that the fold which is suspending the ovary to the back of this broad ligament, you call it as mesovarium. Mesovarium. Okay, then infundibulopelvic ligament, it is basically suspending the upper pole of the ovary to the lateral pelvic wall. Okay, so suppose this is the upper pole of the ovary to the lateral pelvic wall, it goes like this. Okay, the name of that ligament, you call it as infundibulopelvic ligament. So in that infundibulopelvic ligament, you will see the passage of the blood vessels like ovarian vessels, nerves and lymphatics. Okay, then the ovarian ligament is attaching to the lower pole of the ovary to the lateral horn of the uterus. Okay, suspensory ligament of the ovary or the ovarian ligament, like this one. Okay, utero-ovarian ovarian ligament. This is infundibulopelvic is nothing but like this. In first ligament, what I told you, infundibulopelvic, also called as suspensory ligament. Utero-ovarian ligament is nothing but ligament of ovary. okay, which is running from the, this is the fundus of the uterus, body of the uterus. This is the lateral wall. From here to the lower pole, you are finding utero-ovarian ligament. Okay, that is. Is it clear, beta?
Mm.
Now coming to the relations. Now see, this is how we are. First of all, you try to understand this picture. You are finding fundus. Now the fallopian tubes are moving backwards. No, that means the ovaries are placed behind inside the ovarian fossa. Okay. So now see here, the ovary is bounded medially near the midline. It is bounded by fallopian tube. Laterally by the lateral pelvic wall. Superiorly and anteriorly, you will have coils of small intestines, and inferiorly, it is lying in the ovarian fossa, where the ureter and internal iliac. That means if you remove this ovary, behind you will see ureter will be there, and also the branches of internal iliac vessels. Okay, everywhere we should know relations, and of course we are reading theoretically. But if you just try to see in a female body in the cadaver, of course it's very difficult. The size of uterus only will be this much and they will be behind, but still we can try to see the relations. Okay, so these are the relations. Medially the fallopian tube, laterally pelvic wall, superiorly coils of small intestines, and inferiorly and behind the ovarian fossa, where we have ureter and internal pelvic vessels. Okay, now coming to the presenting parts. Same like testis, beta. Do you remember testis presenting parts? I told you it has upper pole, lower pole, anterior border, posterior border, medial surface, lateral surface. These were the presenting parts of testis, isn't it? Now, if you go back and read the testis, the same thing we have two ends, like upper pole we have, lower pole we have. Okay, the upper pole is close to the fallopian tube, no, that's why you call it as tubal end. Lower pole will be little close to the uterus, that's why you call it as uterine end. Okay, then two borders, anterior border and posterior border, and the surface near to the midline. What is the name of the surface near to the midline? Medial surface. And what is the surface away from the midline? Lateral surface. Okay, so coming to this upper end or tubal end, that is directed upwards. Okay, and you can see the uterine tube or fallopian tube is arching over it. Can you see the finger-like projections?
Mm.
These finger-like projections are nothing but fimbriae. And here we will have suspensory ligament of ovary. Okay, connecting the uterine tube and ovary to pelvic brim. This one better. This one. Is the upper pole, we have suspensory ligament of ovary. Okay, which is connecting this upper end of the ovary and uterine tube to the pelvic wall. Laterally it runs. Okay, so this is the upper end. Now coming to this lower end. Okay, at the lower end you have one more ligament. No, what is the name of this ligament? Ligament of
Ovarian ligament.
okay, ovarian ligament or the ligament of ovary or utero-ovarian ligament. Okay, same thing. So uterine end is directed downwards. Okay, and it is connected to the lateral angle of uterus by the ovarian ligament or ligament of ovary. Okay, upper one was suspensory ligament of ovary, and this is utero-ovarian ligament would be better so as to prevent the confusion. Okay, but in our textbooks these two words have been used. Suspensory ligament is above and ligament of ovary is below. Okay, now see, this is the pelvic brim, no? So it is suspending like this, it is springing like this. Suspensory ligament, which is moving at the upper pole and a fallopian tube and then attaching to the pelvic brim like this. Okay, then ligament of ovary will be getting attached to the lateral border of the uterus. Isn't it ovarian ligament or ligament of the ovary? This is suspensory ligament. Okay, such good picture it is. Okay, this is pubic symphysis. Here you have fundus of the uterus. Isn't it? What is this structure? This whole thing.
Mesometrium.
Yes, beta Hansraj?
Mesometrium.
अच्छा ठीक है, mesometrium. Overall, whole
Broad
structure.
ligament.
Very good. Basically, it is a broad ligament. Subdivisions are mesometrium, mesosalpinx, and mesosalpinx
Salping.
and mesobarium. Okay. Now, what are the borders? I told you if it is in correct anatomical position, it has anterior border and posterior border. The anterior border is also called as mesovarian border, which is attached to the posterior layer of broad ligament. Why? Because ovaries are lying behind, isn't it? So that's why it is attached to the posterior layer of broad ligament by a, see like this, by a fold which is acting as hilum. Okay, that means this is nothing but mesovarium. Okay, this whole thing is broad ligament. This is anterior layer, this is posterior layer. From the posterior layer, this fold of peritoneum is getting reflected over the ovary to form mesovarium. Okay, that means from the posterior layer of broad ligament, it is mesovarium is suspending the ovary. Suspending, that means the ovary is hanging like this. Okay, so that means this is actually acting as a hilum through which you will see the blood vessels will be entering, conveying the ovarian vessels and also nerves. Okay, then actually this area, this anterior border looks little white in color, and it is actually called as white line or line of fur. Okay, because you will see there will be a small change in the epithelium. Here the flattened mesothelium of this peritoneum is now becoming continuation with the, what is the epithelium covering the ovary? I said germinal epithelium, cuboidal cells. Whereas in peritoneum we have flat cells. That means this entry point in the anterior border, you will see transition, change of epithelium. Here you will have flat cells and here you will have
Cuboidal.
Okay, so that is this transition zone where we have that we call it as white line, which is corresponding to the anterior border of ovary. Okay, so this picture is showing us again the different components of broad ligament. Okay, composition, like what it is made up of. I discussed this picture many times. I don't think it is required. Now coming to, this window was not coming few days, again it has started. Okay, borders. Now continuing with the borders, anterior border was there and now this is posterior border, which is behind. It is free border. At the anterior border, at the anterior border we had that peritoneal fold, no? Mesovarium. Whereas posterior border is free. Okay, it is convex, and this posterior border is basically, it is related. This picture we have studied when we were doing ureter also. This was the ureter. Same picture I kept in ureter. So this is, what is this blood vessel? Common iliac.
Aorta.
This no,
Iliac.
beta. Yes, ये sacrum का level है. Sacrum. Okay, I am
Yes,
labeling this.
Internal iliac.
Very good. See, this is common iliac, this is external iliac, and this is internal iliac. Okay, internal iliac will have many branches. We will discuss shortly. Okay, mostly in coming classes. So you will see this was the course of ureter. What is the name of this muscle? No, the orientation of the picture.
Annie.
Ah, Annie, your friend, Hansraj. Okay, okay. Don't tell like this in front of examiner. Okay, better Annie. Okay, what is the name of this muscle?
Obturator.
Okay, actually, obturator internus will be here. Okay, okay. Behind we will have
Pyriformis.
pyriformis. पीछे pyriformis है, ये levator ani है. इस तरफ obturator internus. Okay.
Okay.
What are these three structures, beta, from anterior to posterior?
Openings.
Lokesh will
Urinary
answer.
bladder.
Just a minute. Just Hansraj. Thoda. What is Lokesh? Can you please answer, beta? What are these three structures? Daily this is coming. Don't want to answer. No, beta. ఇది మంచిగా చూడు beta. ఇది bag లాగా ఉంది కదా. This is, what is this? You tell me at least. Daily I am telling this. Abhinav, please tell beta. Meghana?
I'm pubic symphysis.
Very good. Pubic symphysis. Behind pubic symphysis?
Urinary bladder.
Excellent. What is this beta?
Uterus.
Excellent. Continuation of uterus. It is cut at the level of cervix. What is this behind?
Rectum and anal canal.
Excellent. Very good. What is this hammock-like structure which is giving support? I told you, jhula, jhula.
I
What is
don't
this?
remember.
Don't remember, beta. Viala, I said, isn't it? Okay, no problem. Abhinav, do you remember what is this which is keeping these three nicely lying?
Levator ani only.
Levator ani only is coming like this, but special name is given, no? Imad, what is the name of this structure?
Broad ligament.
बेटा ब्रॉड लिगामेंट तो इधर बाजू में बहुत बेटा हंसराज
Pubococcygeus.
हाँ प्यूबोकॉक्सीजियस इलिए वो तो ओवरऑल व्हाट इज दैट आई टोल्ड यू इट केम एज एन essay and students were confused and they wrote something else. I'm giving
Diaphragm, pelvic diaphragm. Pelvic diaphragm.
pelvic diaphragm. Okay, this is pelvic diaphragm. Okay, now we are talking about the posterior border of the ovary, okay, which is related to the branches of internal iliac vessels, and it is also related to this white structure. What is this white structure? Ureter. Okay, now coming to the two surfaces: anterior border, posterior border, upper pole, lower pole, medial surface, lateral surface. So medial surface is related to the terminal part of the fallopian tube, and lateral surface is lying in the ovarian fossa. It is convex, and see, it is lying, it is related to lateral pelvic wall, and it is lying in the ovarian fossa. Okay, that is. Now coming to the boundaries, that means you have removed ovary now. Imagine as though you have removed ovary. Then once you remove ovary, you will be able to see that ovarian fossa. You will have certain structures here in the ovarian fossa. Okay. So above you will find this external iliac vein, and behind you will see internal iliac vessels and ureter. That means this is the ovarian fossa. Okay, upar external iliac vein. Then behind you will see internal iliac vessels and ureter. Then above and in front you will see obliterated umbilical artery. Okay, and lateral wall or floor, obviously there you will have parietal peritoneum. These are the obturator vessels. As you said, this is obturator internal muscle, isn't it? Obturator vessels, and this yellow is obturator nerve, which are passing beneath the peritoneum. Okay, this picture is actually helping us to understand many things. So I am just repeating. Above it is related to external iliac vein. Behind it is related to internal iliac vessels and ureter. Above and in front it is related to, this is not shown, obliterated umbilical artery. And lateral wall or floor, parietal peritoneum, obturator vessels and nerves, they pass beneath the peritoneum. Okay. Okay, but see here, this picture I kept when I was discussing many topics. In fact, can you tell me the layout of this picture? What is this? What is this bone?
Pubic, no, pubic symphysis.
Rectus
I'll ask
abdominis
Imad.
muscle area.
Hansraj, just keep quiet, better. Okay. What is the name of this structure, Imad?
Pubic symphysis.
Here, this pubic symphysis is at this level, beta. This is pubic symphysis. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
This point is pubic symphysis. Can you tell me what are these? Hansraj was telling, I stopped him.
क्या?
Umbilical ligament.
ये वाला umbilical ligament. ये anterior abdominal wall, six pack muscle is there, no?
Rectus abdominis.
Very good. What are these three muscles?
External oblique, internal oblique, and transverse abdominis.
You know this, what peritoneum do we have?
The
Fascia.
Superficial fascia.
Fascia transversalis. Yeah,
Fascia
somebody, Ritika
transversalis.
told. Very good. Fascia transversalis. Below which you will find the parietal and visceral layers of peritoneum. Isn't it better? Okay, just I'm trying to give you the layout of this structure. What is the name of this bone? Imad?
The
Lumbar.
lumbar vertebrae.
Okay. Is it lumbar or sacrum? Better check. We are taking this
Sacral, I think.
sacrum, isn't it? You have such a big
Sacral, yes,
hiatus.
ma'am.
No, Lokesh, such a big hiatus you are
Yes,
finding.
ma'am.
Okay. You remember these muscles? Of course, they are labeled now.
Hmm.
PQT muscles. PQT. Psoas major,
Psoas
quadratus.
major, quadratus, lumboris, and transversus abdominis.
Yeah, psoas major, quadratus, lumborum, and transversus abdominis. Okay. Now, what are these three visceral organs? Lokesh.
Ma'am,
What is this organ? What is this? Just now, Meghana told us.
rectum,
Rectum.
Just. This what is this? This
Rectum.
Imad told us pubic symphysis. No. So what is this?
rectum,
ముందు నుంచి
urinary
వెనకకి.
bladder,
Excellent, urinary bladder. ఇది బెటర్.
urethra.
Urinary bladder means only urethra, no beta. Outlet of
sorry, ma'am.
urinary bladder is urethra. Then
Uterus.
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 Let Lokesh answer. Uterus. Then
Uterus, rectum,
rectum. So anterior to posterior, how many visceral organs are there?
3.
3. Okay. So that's what we see. This is the layout of picture, and this actually I kept this when I was doing peritoneum. This for these ligaments: median umbilical ligament, medial umbilical ligament, and lateral umbilical
Lateral.
ligament. No? These are the words which we have used. Okay. And actually, what are cardinal ligaments? Yesterday I told you, McEnroe's ligaments, which are seen at the cervix. Hansraj,
Cervix, transverse ligaments from cervix.
from the cervix to the pelvic wall.
Or pelvic wall, yeah.
Okay, so that finishes ovary, and now coming to the blood supply of ovary. So we have two sources. One is directly from the aorta, abdominal aorta. You will have one artery, that is ovarian artery. It is starting at the level of L2, and it is passing through this suspensory ligament of the ovary and mesosalpinx and mesovarium, and then it is giving branches to the ovary. And we also know, like we have like uterine artery coming as one of the branches of internal iliac. No? So, uterine artery is also giving branches to the ovary. Okay. After that, we have venous drainage. Now see the like venous network of the right side. Where is it draining into? Right gonadal vein. Whereas left venous plexus, if you just see this left ovarian vein, it is draining into left renal vein. Left renal vein, then left renal vein will drain into inferior vena cava. Okay. So right gonadal vein is directly draining into inferior vena cava. Same type of venous drainage we also saw when we were doing testis, isn't it? Testis mein aise hi tha na beta. There also I have used this word, pampiniform plexus. What is the meaning of pampiniform? I told you there. Grapevine. Grapevine.
Yes.
Vine yani bale, climber like. Okay. That is pampinic. So much of climber like things you will see. They form a plexus, and they all join to form a single vein. Okay, which is seen in the suspensory ligament. Okay. So the right ovarian vein is directly draining into inferior vena cava, and left is draining into left renal vein, which thereby it goes and drains into inferior vena cava. Okay. Lymphatic drainage, always go with the nearby lymph nodes. Okay, this is our right ovary and left ovary. So you are finding the lymphatic vessels from here. They go into pre and para aortic group of lymph nodes. Okay, they also follow these gonadal vessels. That means the ovarian vessels. Then coming to the nerve supply. So basically, generally this ovary is insensitive to pain. okay, except to the squeezing on this pelvic visceral examiner. Pervaginal examination is the examination what we do when we pass the fingers through the vagina, and we generally check this pervaginal examination. Nowadays, pervaginal examination is not done to confirm pregnancy, but this was the very first step which the gynecologist used to do to confirm pregnancy. But because during pregnancy you will see the cervix becomes very soft. Softening of cervix is the first sign of pregnancy. Okay, so generally even when you just pass the finger through the vagina, you call it as pervaginal examination, and we see ovaries are insensitive to pain when we do the pervaginal examination. Then coming to sympathetic and parasympathetic, they are coming from T10 to T11, and they are forming, actually these nerves are forming a plexus. Those are the pre-aortic plexus that accompany ovarian vessels. Okay, these nerves I will discuss much in detail, pelvic splanchnic nerves. Okay, then coming to the applied anatomy, ovarian torsion. Torsion means what? See, this is the normal position of ovary. Suppose if it is getting twisted and lying above, then you generally call it as torsion. Okay, so it may occur due to some abnormally long mesovarium, or suspensory ligament may be too long. Sometimes it happens. Okay, basically we are seeing ovaries are lying in ovarian fossa, no? We have seen the relations also in the ovarian fossa. Sometimes, especially in multiparous women, you will see it may get prolapsed and displaced into the pouch of Douglas, where they can be palpated through pervaginal examination. Okay. Now, see, suppose if cyst is formed in the ovary, you call it as ovarian cyst. Okay. See, like you should have come across this term PCOD, polycystic, polycystic ovarian disease. What is this cyst? Basically, cyst is when you ovary histology is not done, no, in your theory classes, because abdomen was not yet done. Okay, if you just look at this picture, you are finding some developing follicles which you have studied in your intermediate also, isn't it? Primary follicle, primordial follicle, Graafian follicle, and we know Graafian follicle ruptures to release the ovum, isn't it? Sometimes in some cases you will see the Graafian follicle is not rupturing, and the ovum is getting entrapped during each month of menstrual cycle. So that usually we are finding PCODs in very young girls, 18 years, 20 years, 25 years. Okay, so that means what the Graafian follicle is getting arrested, it is not rupturing, and ova is not released every month, and you are finding that they are all getting entrapped. Every month one primordial follicle is maturing. Every month Graafian follicle is formed, but every month the Graafian follicle is unable to rupture. So that so many Graafian follicles will get entrapped inside the ovary. They bulge and they form cyst. Okay, so that is the meaning of polycystic, PCOD. That means many cysts inside the ovaries. That is the commonest cause of infertility in young couples, where the lady will not be able to conceive because of this PCOD. It's a very simple case. Okay, this can be easily treated.